As we journey through these days of Lent, I find my signs of hope in the wondrous music of this season. There's so much that makes Lent feel like a season of penitence and remembrance, and yet a season of hope. And so I turn to the songs of the church, to countless words and tunes that connect life to the wonder of this season. The one that comes to my mind more than any is the great hymn, My Song is Love Unknown, based on a 17th century poem by Samuel Crossman. The 20th century tune by John Ireland that was written for this text has inspired so many in the century or so since it was written. There are many different settings, beautiful and wondrous choral settings, and even a rock setting by the British band Coldplay. But the wonder of this text and this song comes in its words. These words, my song is love unknown, my Savior's love to me. It takes this wondrous story, this story of salvation and renewal for all creation, and makes it for me. Not just for all, but for me. This is my song. The life, death, and resurrection of Christ are for me. The gift of life in Christ is for me. But that's not the only message of this hymn, for it is also clear in these words that I am party to the suffering of Christ, that my words contribute to the cries of crucify on Good Friday, that crucify is all our breath, that it's not just my sin, but our sin that contributes to the wonder of this season. Ultimately, for me, this hymn points to the importance of this season that links our stories, my story, your story, our story as the church, our story as God's world, to the divine story, to the time when the incarnation of Christ is made real again for me. To this moment when our sin, our suffering, and our redemption are connected to Christ Himself. While this song of love unknown is so familiar in this season of penitence, I believe it is ultimately a song and a sign of hope. It reminds us that this is not a story that I can fix. These problems can't be resolved by my action, or your action, or even our best actions together. Instead, God steps in to remake us, to connect us to one another in new ways, and unite us in praise all our days, so that we can live in transformed and new life by the power of Jesus Christ. So may we stay and sing here this story so divine. For never was love, dear King, never was grief like thine. This is my friend, in whose sweet praise I all my days could gladly spend. Thanks be to God. Amen.